March 1989. You've got a nice list of books here, a good mix of stuff, and there's even some horror in here this time. Nothing going on that I can think of in my life at the time. I was still in California, still in the Air Force, getting closer to leaving. Probably had my orders at this point for where I was going next. But again, you're going to have to wait to find out about that. So let's just get into the list here. And we're starting off with The Armageddon Rag by George R.R. Martin. He's an up-and-coming author. I'm not sure a lot of people have heard of him yet. Hopefully he'll make a name for himself. This is a horror novel. I think he might be known for another genre, but I'm not completely certain. Anyway, this is about Sandy Blair was an underground journalist back in the 60s, and he comes out of retirement when the promoter for a rock band called Nazgul is murdered, and he's investigating, and there's supernatural stuff, and the world may come to an end because of this band. Something like that. I don't know. Obviously, it's been a long time since I've read it. And that's... I've got nothing else to say about it. It's George R.R. Martin. I have not read a lot of his stuff. I have not read any of the Game of Thrones. Yeah, he's the author of that, for those who don't know. Anyway, I guess we'll just move on. Next, we have Zen in the Art of Archery by Eugen Herrigel. Don't know if that's how you pronounce his name. And this is just another look at Eastern philosophy through a specific thing, in this case, archery. There's been quite a few books on this list already that look at Eastern philosophy through things like Winnie the Pooh and something else that I can't remember. I know there was something on here. Physics. There we go. I just glanced. So, yeah, my diving into philosophy, probably, again, a book that was recommended by Dennis O'Neill in the pages of the Question comic book. Quite a bit of nonfiction here. Wow. Maybe half of these are nonfiction. The next one is nonfiction as well. A Brief History of Time by Stephen W. Hawking. Something I just picked up. I don't believe this was recommended. And it is what it says in the title. It's a science book, obviously. It's very accessible, easy to read, something I should probably read again sometime, because it's interesting stuff. And or I should pick up some other Stephen Hawking and read that, because I think this might be the only Stephen Hawking that I've read. Next, here we have, I borrowed this from Mom. We have The Cat Who Sniffed Glue by Lillian Jackson Braun. And we've got our main character, Quillerin, who is now a millionaire, and his two cats, Coco and Yum Yum. There's a murder. They investigate. The one thing I distinctly remember from this book is that the title gives away the mystery. So... do I spoil it? Is anybody going to read this? Anybody that watched my channel into cozy mysteries? No, you know what? If you want to know about it, we can talk about it in the comments below with a spoiler warning. But yeah, these are simple, fun-ish. I mean, there's murders. Mystery books, but in this particular case, knowing the title, obviously, I know the title of the books I read. Very early on, there was a point where I said, this is what's going to happen. And as soon as it did, I was like, yep, there's the murderer. So, but that's The Cat Who Sniffed Glue. And then we have, now, my list says A Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. I looked at it on Amazon, and there was a copy called A Book of Five Rings, but there were multiple copies called The Book of Five Rings. Don't know why there's any type of difference. But anyway, this is was written as a guide, advice for a warrior, but it's one of those books that has been used in the modern day as simply a guide for life. You can ignore the stuff about actually killing people and just take the advice that's in here and apply it to day-to-day life. And it's a pretty good book. I like it. I like it a lot. Next, we have The Gold Coast by Kim Stanley Robinson. Ooh, almost screwed that up. Kim Stanley Robinson, The Gold Coast. Apparently, this is book 2 of a series, a trilogy called The Three Californias. I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know that until I just looked it up on Amazon. But it's a book that takes place in 2027, California. It's just industry and housing and all sorts of stuff. And there's industrial terrorism, I think, going on. Don't really remember much about it. Don't know that I ever read the other 2 books. Wow, just what are you going to do? Not really selling some of these books, am I? But next up, a fantastic book that I own a copy of. Looking for a better copy. Mine's a little beat up. I bought this used. This is The Wolf's Hour by Robert R. Mccammon. Love these covers. You can see that spine is a little beat up. I'd love to have a nicer copy, but these are tough to find, so sometimes you got to take what you get. And this is basically, at its core, it's about a werewolf during World War II. Is he a British spy? I don't know. He's a spy. He's a werewolf. He's fighting Nazis. It's awesome. There is a companion book. I don't know if it's a sequel because I haven't read it yet. I own it. You can see me looking over there. I've got a hardcover copy of it, but I haven't read it. But anyway, great book, as with everything Mccammon writes. And it's a werewolf versus Nazis. Come on. How can you not love that? I love that at the bottom there. You got the cap and then the werewolf shadow or silhouette. And of course, he's howling. But, yeah. Good stuff. You should be reading Mccammon anyway. Anything the dude writes. But this is a lot of very pulpy fun. Next up, Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind by Shunryu Suzuki. Don't know if that's correct. Again, just more Eastern philosophy. I looked this up on Amazon, and they said it's one of the, if not the best-selling Eastern philosophy books, Zen books for beginners. And again, at this point, I don't know if it was recommended by Dennis O'Neil in the Question comic book or if it's just one that I picked up. I was, just going to bookstores, looking for the things that were recommended, and then just finding things on my own and reading them. But good Eastern philosophy stuff. I should rebuild my Eastern philosophy library. Next up, another nonfiction, which is Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman. Again, more Eastern philosophy. I feel like this was made into a movie, but I'm not sure. If it was, I haven't seen it. Another book I enjoyed and pretty sure recommended by Dennis O'Neil, but not 100% sure. And finally, we have, we're returning to a series. It's been a while since this has been on the list. Mission Earth, Volume 3, The Enemy Within by L. Ron Hubbard. So, almost a third of the way through this huge 10-book series. And in this one, for those who haven't watched all of this list, or all of this series, I should say, of videos, there's aliens invading Earth, and at this point, they've infiltrated the population of the planet, but our main character Jethro Heller, something like that. Doesn't know he's one of the invaders. Doesn't know who's a friend, who's an enemy, and it's. I mean, these weren't bad books. I at the time that I was reading these, didn't know anything about Hubbard or Scientology, so I don't know if there's like crazy Scientologist type messages in the book or anything. I just remember them being good, pulpy fun. And that's it. That's all I have for March of 1989. Like I said, that's quite a crazy mix there. A lot of Eastern philosophy, some horror, a mystery, some sci-fi, some regular science with Stephen Hawking. It was an interesting month, apparently. I don't know what the hell I was doing. But there you go. I'm just glancing at the next month. That looks pretty good too. So you're going to want to come back next week. Some crazy stuff. Man, that looks good. That was a good month. Anyway, let's not talk about the future of the past. Let's talk about the past of the past, or the present of the past. March 1989. This is just getting crazy. Anyway, that's it. Like I said, a fun mix. A lot of good stuff. Some of this I wouldn't mind rereading. I need to read that companion book for the Wolf's Hour. Get some more werewolf spy stuff going on. Hopefully. I think that's what it's about. I don't know. But anyway, I've gotten to the point where I'm rambling, so let's wrap this up. If you have any comments, questions, corrections, please put them in the comments below. We can talk. I can tell you why the title of this, the cat book, gave away the mystery. We'll just post spoiler warnings because we try to be polite here on my channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let's spread the word. If you want to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is @Ronin5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comics, games, and fuzzy animals, is Eric Smith 5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH 5757. That's all I've got. So until next time, read more books.